So you have this amazing dream of building your own home in India. But then reality hits without one massive question. Where on earth do you even start? It feels like a huge, overwhelming project, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. Think of this as your clear, simple starting point. Okay, let's jump right in. Here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to break it down into 5 simple, manageable steps. We'll start with a floor plan, then we'll talk a little about Vastu design. After that, we'll get into some super important structural rules, figure out your key materials, and then we'll get to the number everyone wants to know, the final cost. All right, first up, the blueprint. To make this feel real and not just theoretical, we're starting with something super practical and common, a 1,000 square foot home. And we're basing it on a simple 25 by 40 foot rectangular plot. Now, take a look at these numbers. This is how you get a perfectly functional 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. You got a really nice, spacious living room and a great-sized master bedroom. But here's a really clever detail you might miss. Notice how the toilets are the same size? That's not just for looks. By grouping the plumbing for the kitchen and both bathrooms close together, this design actually saves you a ton of money on piping and labor. Pretty smart, right? Okay, so we've got the layout. Now let's talk about the feel of the home. That brings us to our second section, designing with Vastu. Now, don't think of Vastu as some strict engineering rule. It's more like a traditional set of guidelines from India, all about aligning your home with natural energies to create a more peaceful and harmonious place to live. And this is a great little cheat sheet for the core ideas. For example, you see the master bedroom in the southwest? Well, that's believed to bring stability and a sense of command to the homeowner. And the kitchen, home of the fire element, is perfect for the southeast. It's just a really fascinating way to think about the flow and the energy of your home's layout. On to section 3, and this is where we get into the real nitty-gritty, the bones of your house. We're talking about structural thumb rules. Now, these aren't just guesses. They're practical, engineer-approved guidelines straight from the official Indian standard IS 456-2000. Seriously, knowing these few things will make you feel so much more confident when you're talking to your contractor. So these numbers you see here, these are your absolute minimums. Think of them as non-negotiable. If you go any smaller than this, you could seriously compromise the strength of your house. So these are the numbers you want to have in your back pocket for a strong, safe, single-story home. Now you're going to hear technical terms thrown around, like M20 concrete grade. Don't let it intimidate you. All this means is the standard recommended strength for the concrete mix. It's basically the quality benchmark you need to make sure your team is hitting. Simple as that. Okay, this might seem like a super tiny detail, but trust me, it is incredibly important. This nominal cover is just a thin layer of concrete that protects the steel bars inside your beams and columns. Without it, moisture gets in, the steel starts to rust, and that compromises the strength of your entire house. It's a perfect example of a small detail with absolutely huge consequences. Okay, section 4. We've talked about the structure. Now let's make this tangible. Let's talk about your shopping list. These are some solid ballpark figures for the key materials you're going to need. This is where you can really start budgeting. First up, steel. For a 1,000 square foot house, you're looking at about 3,500 kilograms of reinforcement steel, or what they call rebar. Now, to put that in perspective, that's 3.5 metric tons. That's like the weight of 2 cars, forming the hidden skeleton of your home. Next, the glue that holds everything together, cement. You can plan on needing about 500 bags. And knowing this number isn't just about the cost, it's a massive logistical help. It helps you plan for deliveries and, figure out where you're going to store all of it on a busy construction site. And finally, when you mix all that cement with sand and gravel, the total amount of concrete you'll need is going to be around 50 cubic meters. This is really the lifeblood of the project. This is what fills your foundations and forms the slabs and beams that give your home all its strength. And now for the moment you have absolutely been waiting for, section 5. Let's get down to it and calculate the final cost. We're going to answer that one big question on everyone's mind. What is this whole thing going to cost me? This quote right here, it's everything. The cost for the basic structure is pretty stable, but your final price tag is going to be massively impacted by your choices and finishes. And we're talking about your personal touch here. The specific tiles you pick, the brand of paint, the style of your bathroom faucets, even your light switches. This is where the budget can really change. So let's look at a realistic range for 2025. As you can see, for a budget finish, think basic but totally functional materials, you're looking at around 15 lakh rupees. If you want to go for some better quality tiles, paint, and fixtures, you're getting closer to 22 lakh rupees. Now, it's super important to remember this is for the construction itself. It doesn't include the price of the land, any government fees, or any high-end luxury items. So let's wrap this all up. We started with a solid 25 by 40-foot plan. We saw how Vastu can help guide the layout. We learned the key structural rules so you can talk to your contractor with confidence. We got a handle on our core materials, and we landed on a realistic budget somewhere between 15 and 22 lakhs. You literally have a complete roadmap now from A to Z. So we've gone from a vague dream to a concrete plan in just a few minutes. You've got the blueprint, you've got the guidelines, and you've got